Hello, my name's Katie Richards, and I did a paper on the cognitive development theory, and I did an analysis and a critique. So, in my paper, I discussed the originator of the cognitive development theory, which is Jean Piaget, and then I talked about the assumptions, concepts, and the application. After that, I talked about the strengths and the weaknesses of the theory, and I did that in order to be able to demonstrate my ability to critique and analyze the cognitive development theory. So first, I think it's most important to explain what cognitive development theory is. And essentially, it is to show that an individual and an environment interact together to shape an understanding. The purpose of using the cognitive development theory is to see if there's some sort of cause for delinquency or social impairments that happen during the development of an infant or a child. And so what Piaget did, he originally was a naturalist, but he really moved on to psychology based on the curiosity of how understanding grew in infants. He wanted to be able to get authentic responses from infants, which previously hadn't been accomplished successfully. And he did that by employing a combination of psychometrics, naturalistic surveillance, and psychiatric clinical investigation. So there's several assumptions that you have to buy into in order to get behind the cognitive development theory. One of those assumptions is that cognition occurs only in a specific order of events, and also that internal and external teachings don't affect cognitive development, but it's an individual's actions. And you also have to buy into the fact that globally and across the entire world, everyone experiences cognitive development the same. So cognitive development is an unprompted natural process, which enables infants to develop cognitive structures individually using their own experiences. So that leads into the main concepts, which are the 4 stages that Piaget identified. So stage 1 for that is the sensomotor intelligence, which is from birth to 18 months. In this stage, the infant matures motor and sensory schemata. So essentially, the infant is able to track something that's moving with their eyes. They're able to do repeated actions like moving a hand to their mouth and sucking at the same time, which leads into primary circular reactions, which is the combination of these repeated actions. After that is the secondary circular reactions, which comes to an infant across external events, such as an infant noticing that their crib is rattling, and then the infant would attempt to repeat that rattling. So the combination of 2 actions paired with the environmental factor can be coined as the coordination of secondary schemata, which leads to the tertiary circular reactions. And that is when a child's sitting up in their high chair and they push an object off of the high chair to essentially just see what the effect of that action will be. And all of these reactions lead to the beginnings of thoughts. The second stage of cognitive development theory is the pre-operational thought, which occurs from 18 months to 7 years of age. In this, the child develops object permanence. So they notice that as soon as so if you have an object in front of a kid and then you take it away, they don't think that it just ceased to exist in the world. They realize that it's still there somewhere. And in this stage, they're also able to not just react immediately to a stimuli. They're able to think, oh, I'm mad, I want to hit this, and stop and think, but I probably shouldn't, and stop that reaction. In the third stage, it's concrete operational thought, which occurs between 7 and 12. So this is when a child interprets their motor thoughts as linguistic and mental actions. And it also is when a child develops from egocentrism to empathy and is able to put themselves in another person's shoes. So this is when a child's social abilities really come into play. They're able to interpret the things around them. The final stage is formal operational thought, which Dale and Smith both suggest that many individuals, or some individuals at least, do not ever develop through this. And they also stress that development does not cease to occur after adolescence. So this is where logic is seen in an abstract way. This is where a child is able to have theories and theorize in abstract ways. So some of the strengths of the cognitive development theory, the main one is that when looking at neurological studies that have been done recently, the stages that Piaget first identified really hold up still through what we know through child's development. Another is that this theory is one of the first in social work to really look at infants when infancy plays such a big part in what becomes a lot of psychological issues for people as they get older. Another is that it's able to show parenting skills. You're able to step in the middle of something happening and look at the stages and see how they're supposed to progress. Some of the limitations are that Piaget initially claimed that they were global, but when there were studies done, it showed that there were a significant difference, especially between Eastern and Western cultures, and how the cognitive development theory would really play out. There's also an aspect of these young children having to self-report in order to measure the different stages, which can be really hard depending on how researchers word questions or how they interpret these young children's answers to their questions. However, a model is created that will help word some of these questions and has suggested improvements that can be paired with cognitive development theory to correct these kind of limitations. Thank you.